Welcome and welcome back, everybody. We are going through with the Certified DevOps Engineer training program. This is our roadmap, and according to roadmap, we have completed day one for Linux, day two for ABCs of DevOps. We learn all the fundamentals, right? And in last session, we started with day three version control system. So in that, we talk about the basics. I believe you also got a plenty amount of time to revise the concept, and that was completely foundational session, right? And today it's our time to level up the game. Today's session is really important. Of course, all sessions are important, but I mean, in first session we complete the basic things. In second, we level up our game. In this session, we will concentrate on not only as a DevOps engineer, as a whether you are part of QA team or you are a developer or you are a contributor in or planning to contribute, or maybe in future you are contributor in open source project. So how this tools, right? So we know Git and GitHub is our tool, but how we use these tools to contribute into the project. Today we will see how these tools actually use for real world, real life. When you work on the project, your needs will be different, but the concept will remain the same. Okay, so that's what we talk about today's session, and that's why I put it to level up the game. And also we will go beyond the advance. Okay, this is not just the basic things I will tell you. We will go beyond the advanced things, so like cherry picking, when you have to do rebase, when like extremely you are in chaos, when nothing happened, then how to resolve those kind of things, right? So I will share my all the experience which I have gathered in my as a DevOps engineer job role. I will explain each and everything, not just the command, along with the my experience. Okay, so that would be there. And as you know, it's my volunteer work. The training is free of charge for the people who is entering into the DevOps world, right? So this is the QR code. Those who wants to register for the training, they could scan the QR code. They can. I would like to acknowledge again, thanks. Though previous our sessions was theory, but still we received a lot of support and love from our YouTube family, from you as well. So with that said, let's start what we will cover today. So in previous session, we talked the basic things, right? Where we talk about version control system. It's a type, right? We see all three types, and we also talk about what was the problem with like local version control system. Then centralized is all that problem, but centralized also had some problem. Then we got distributed version control system, right? So that's what we talk in last session. Additionally, we also talk about this part, your DevOps diary, right? In that we see how we can install, how we can upgrade the Git itself, right? The whatever version is showing on the official website. Okay, and we also learn about the coloring convention when you execute the command git status, when it says green, when it is red or something like that, right? And we also learn about the how we can do the commit, and all these things we talked in our previous session. That was the basics for this one, right? So this is done, and what we are going to start today. So we will start first look into the GitHub. So push pull GitHub edition, it's just I give the name as is, right? In this we will create account, right? So but we will not only create account, we will talk about the securities. Yeah, one thing I would like to again highlight over here, I will be sharing the best practices, right? Because you are just started, or you are learning. So what I believe, when I also started, when I started learning all this DevOps thing, I also attended a training, and in my opinion, right, it's my personal opinion. Yes, I'm being opinionated here, because all the trainers, they did mistake. Mistake is that, yes, you are teaching. Sorry, I would not say you are. I would say we are learning the thing, so we should learn in a best way, right? We should also follow the best practices, and that's what will stand you out from the crowd, right? When you go in your company in very first job, and you get opportunity to set up a GitHub account, and you did it securely, and when you go back and you say in your team meeting or your manager, you say, I have set up, and I also enable this security feature, then definitely guys, you will be here, not with the crowd. So I will be sharing best practices. Okay, we will not only create the account, we will also to create a secure account. Once account is created, then there are so many other steps you must have to follow. Okay, so that we will be doing in first thing. Then we'll, after creating the account, we will see creating a repository. We will see what repository page options we have. So this is kind of a walkthrough, right? A tour of that. Then we will create access token. We have a different kind of access token over there. We'll discuss that. Then we will connect our local repository with the remote. So how we will do that, and we will also see various cloning option. This is not just a git clone and repository URL. It would not, we will not discuss only that command. That command is already there. Go to the read the documentation. There are plenty documentations are available. I would be sharing my experience, right? So we will see the several approach to clone the repository. Then we will also see the how we can push the code to the remote repository. So that is a part of this section. So let's start with creating very first things, the secure account setup, right? So in this same thing, we'll go to the github.com. This is a website, very beautiful now. Here you will get extremely right side top corner sign in option. If you have already account, you can sign in over here. If you, but we have to create account. So we will click on the sign up, right? And after that, this screen will be shows again. Accidentally, if we create a, I mean, click on the sign up instead of signing. So again, they are smart enough, the developers, right? That's up to them. They also give this option over here. You can click on this and do the signing, but we are interested in creating an account, right? Very simple process. We know how to do sign up and all these things. Provide the details over here, and once you are done with that, you will be presented with this screen. In this screen, you have to verify you are not a robot, right? You are actually human. So for that, it will ask you kind of solve the puzzles. Maybe it's a different, I just took a snapshot randomly. Okay, so it might be a different one. Then you have to solve the puzzles. Once you have done, I mean, you solve the puzzle, then there is a code sent to your email ID, right? Which is, so I have just masked this email ID over here. So whatever email ID you have provided, go over there and put the code in that. You don't have to type one by one, just copy and paste all the strings or all the digits or whatever kind of you have the code you received on your email. Just paste it over here. It will, okay, then continue and your account is set up. Very simple process, right? Nothing is complicated over here. Then here, again, we have to do the, it says, okay, your account was created successfully, please sign in to continue. And then we will, once we will do the sign up, I mean sign in, then you will log in like this. Okay, so this is your dashboard, this is your home page, right? There is no repository created. Very first time when you create account, you will be able to see this kind of okay, this is normal process to create account, nothing special over here. So let's make it special. Okay, here extreme right top side, there is option by default. You do not have any image, right? Of course, we didn't upload any of the image, right? So any image will be there. So this side, when you click on this, okay, and then you will get some options over here. Here there are so many things, right? We will talk, we will come across on each and everything, right? Not everything, the important one. So at the moment for us, we are interested in settings, right? So we will click on that, we will go to the settings. Then this is the settings of your account. So this page is for your account settings. Okay, this is not repository setting, remember. Okay, we are coming on that. So this side, you have so many options. Out of this, we are interested in this one, password and authentication, right? Will click on that. Once we click, we will be in the options of password, right? Here it says change the password, right? We can change the password, nothing special. But here, this is the we are interested in this part, which this part is two-factor authentication, right? So what it says, let's see. So now onwards, I would say not only for this, for me personally, since I'm moving in cybersecurity slash infosec, I learned what is the importance of two-factor authentication. So whether you are using, so whenever you are logging, if possible, the service you are consuming, they have two-factor authentication facility, enable it. Whether it's your LinkedIn account, your Insta account, your Facebook account, any account, right? Because it is additional layer of security for your account. So for example, I'm doing this live session or maybe a demo. I accidentally expose. Sometimes it happened. We are typing and we forgot the mask password, right? So password will be revealed. It is not accidentally, right? I mean, it is not intentionally. It happened accidentally, unintentionally. No worries. You have to factor authentication, right? So still you have a chance. You could, or the person who saw your password cannot do anything, right? So always make this as a best practice in your DevOps services, and that is also a part of DevSecOps. So always remember, whenever you are creating any account, setting up any account for any service, go ahead and do set up two-factor authentication. So in security term field, it is called as a defense in depth or multi-layer security, right? Where this is not just one, there are so many other things as well. I will show you in that. We will not go much more into details of this, but simple, when you click on this enable two-factor authentication, this kind of a screen will be appear, right? Then here it says set up this thing. So how you can set up it, one QR code will be here. So I use two things, right? Here is also says Microsoft Authenticator, etc. Right? So in etc, I use Google Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator both. Whether you're Android or iPhone user, go to Play Store and just type this. You will see the Authenticator app. Maybe I could show you right away. Why not? It looks like this. It's Authenticator where it gives you the code, right? Download that application and then scan the QR code over here, which will be showing, right? So here it is also says Microsoft Authenticator. If you are working in a company, right, and if you are already using Microsoft Authenticator, use that one, because your all code will be in one application. So that's how you decide. But I personally I use both, but I like Google Authenticator most, right? So that's my preference. So whatever is your preference, you have that. And additionally, it also says is you, like, if you face any problem, it says setup to manually configure authenticate an app, you can use this. So here you have how you can do sorry, not this one, this link, it says learn more about enabling 2FA. When you click on this link, everything will be provided to you step by step. I mean, all the steps will be provided on this page, right? So scan that. Okay, once you scan, after that you have to on your application, it will give you the code, right? That code you have to mention over here. Once you done enter the code, you will see this screen, right? And here you will see there are so many codes are there, right? And here this option is not available, right? You cannot go ahead until you click on the download button. So download and save this keys in case you lost your mobile or the device where you have configured the this authenticator app. Then this code, or by this code, you can uh, you will be able to log in, right? So that's why this code, once you click on that, then you will see this option and it says I have saved my recovery codes. Okay, so very important thing, download and keep these codes as a safe place, okay, not on your laptop. And after that, yes, so congratulations, right? Two-factor authentication is already enabled on your account, right? Here it says don't get logged out, configure additional authentication, right? So I have also used this one, right? Install, these are the pass key, or here is also UB key. These are the physical thing, but if your company provide, go ahead and do that. So depending on the how project is crucial, or how confident, what is the level of confidentiality, so depends on what kind of thing. So but it's good to, as I said, multi-layer of or defense in depth, multi-layer of security. So try to at least I also did this thing, mobile as mobile application. GitHub also has mobile application, provide that. Okay, so, and if you want to, so, but I use this two-factor authentication and also this GitHub mobile app, right? So done. Once we are done, then we, I mean, instead of these things, we will be seeing like this two-factor authentication, and it says two-factor authentication adds an additional layer of security, right? And your account by all these things and blah blah blah. So here it says I have configured two-factor, right? And well, you also have to view option again. Here you can see your recovery codes, right? In this account I do not have, but in I will show another account where I have set up this mobile application, right? So this is the way to set up a secure account, right? Once this is done, then come over here. This GitHub icon is your home button. This hamburger icon is not, right? Because it gives you more other options. When you click on this, this is your home button, right? So I'll click on this, and again I come back to this page, right? When I logged in all these things. Do you have any questions, guys? Okay, then I take as a no. Very simple, right? So uh, thank you, Kamlesh, for the feedback. Nice. So this is end of this topic. We have successfully set up account, right? Now next topic is create a remote repository. Now we create a repository. I mean, he already created a two-factor authentication, right? There are two ways. We are already on the home page, but if not, when you log in, or maybe your session got expired, then you have to provide username, then you have to provide the password, and after providing the password, it will ask you like this two-factor authentication, right? So like I said, if I expose my password, then somebody who is trying to get into my account needs to have this code, right? Which is only with me at the moment. My mobile is not stolen, so I provide the code, and again I'm coming back to on this screen. So this is very first time when we do not have any repository in the account. Okay, so initial setup is done, right? We enable the security. We also have so many other options, but I have just shown you how you could do the two-factor authentication, right? Now to create a repository, we have two places where we have this option. So one is right side, no, left side of this. It says create repository, and here we also have option. It says create repository. So let's see, but before that there is an option. It says import repository. So might be you are already working on a project, or your company has planned to, okay, let's move on to the GitHub from other thing, or maybe any of the other repository service, right? So when you click on this, you get this kind of information form, right? So it says your source repository. So whichever repository you want to import in here, you have to provide the URL, you have to provide the username and the password, and what repository name you want to keep over here, you have to give the name, and you also have to decide. Of course, in organization, nobody is going to create a public repository. Everybody has a closed code, right? Until it's not an open source project, right? So do that and click the begin, and your repository will be important. And you could also see over here support for importing Mercurial. We talk about this is also one of the option, right? Subversion is also TFVC is also kind of option, right? It says these are support for this is this end, right? So they are ended over here. So this option was here, so I quickly touch up on this. But we have to create a repository. We do not have to migrate or import, right? So we have two options. Let's first see this option, what it says. So when I click on this, so I will be coming over like this, right? It says create new repository, right? So what I have to do here, sorry, here I have to provide the name. Here there is a description. I have to choose what I want to do. At the moment, let's say I have created this repository VCS dsoc3, and it says VCS dsoc3 is available. It's green. Okay, I'm interested in to creating a public repository, that's fine. Here it's a description. So when you are working in an organization, right, on a project, so keep a meaningful name. So when your teammates will refer this, right, so they know, or sometimes you also need to know. Okay, I will show you where this information will reflect, right? But always, since beginning, even though you are learning, always keep a very meaningful name. Okay, don't just say okay, whatever. Okay, so don't do like that. And then after that, click on create repository, and then our repository is created. There were more options we will be discussing, or we will be coming on that later, but for time being, these options are sufficient. And then we have these options available. Right here is the, when we click on the create repository, then we will be presented with this page. Okay, let's see what we have here. Here it says, okay, quick setup, if you have done this kind of things before. So here, if you click on this, right, so it says, well, we recommend every repository include, okay, what it includes, readme license, git ignore, and all these things. So when you click on this option, create new file, right, so it will bring you to this page. Okay, just give a file name, right, and provide a commit, because of course, so before we were working on the local system, right, this time we are working in GitHub. So you have options, you can also do itself in GitHub, right? So I just say create file, this one, then click on the commit message, and then this file will be created, and then you will be able to see this one. Okay, but after that, you will be not able to see this screen. So guys, remember, whenever you are creating a repository, so here is your point, right, decision point, what you want to do. So we have three options. It says create a new repository on the command line, push an existing repository. So we are coming on this, but once you passed with this one, so that's why I put this one. Once you move past on this page once, then there is no direct way to, you will be seeing this page only once. Okay, so very careful when you create a repository. So you must, I mean, of course, you will be knowing, okay, what you have to do. You have to create, I mean, link with your local repository, or you already have a repository, or maybe you are just doing the testing, or after testing you will be providing the project team, okay guys, this is the repository setup for you, like that. Okay, but remember, you will not be able to see this page again if this question will be asked in an interview. So you could answer, and you could say you have to decide once, because once you put the files in that, then you do not have this initial setup configuration. Okay, then, so that's why you will be able to see only this page once you commit the file, and you will be able to see this page. Okay, next one. And again, if you click on the home button, then you could see your repository over here. So at the moment we have only one repository, right? If you have multiple, then everything will be shown over here, right? So again, what I have done, I click on this option, new repository, this time. Okay, again, I will be presenting the same one, right? But this time I try to put the same name again. Then it says the repository already exists on this account. So it means whenever you're creating a repository, it will check, okay, whether this repository is existing or not existing, or unique in your own account, right? So it should be unique in your own account. That's why it says this slash. Okay, and again, so what I have done, I have changed this name to devs. Okay, maybe it's for development. So once development will be done, then maybe we'll go ahead and create more repository. Again, public, and then create. And now we are again on this page, right? So we talk about all, I mean, we have already talked about this quick setup option. Usually this happen like when you go to the company very first time this happen. So you probably doing the migration, or maybe you have new projects, so you will be creating just test file, or maybe readme file, or license file, or something like that, and you then start giving the access to the people. right? But sometimes it is possible, right? So company is not big, they start working locally, and once they decided, okay, now it's time to move to the um, um, remote repository, then they go ahead and use this kind of thing. Okay, so in last time we talk about this thing, we perform git init, git add, right? We also added the readme file, then we did the commit, and here it also suggests you, okay, git branch main. So before, GitHub has a default naming convention, branch is the was the master, but now it's a default branch name is main, right? And then it says git remote add, push, and all these things we will see in a bit. Okay, here this is what we are gonna do today, right? We will also see how we initialize the repository remotely. We already saw when you click on the create file and you committed in previous time, when I showed you, then that was the remote initialization, right? And this git init is the when you are initializing your local repository. There is another option to link your remote repository with the local repository with the remote one. So we will be seeing this option very soon, right? And my repository is created, I didn't touch it any of the configuration, right? Then here I can see I have one more repository, devs, right? dsoc3 devs. Fine. Now we have another option to create repository this side. Let's see what is this. Here I just given a name, vcs dsoc3 stage. Just I give a name. Okay, I will put my staging code in this, and I selected public, and when you click on create, this will directly create a repository. So this is a quick repository creation for you. And again, you have got the same options, but you notice this here, your origin, I mean, I would not say the origin, I would say the URL of your repository is the repository name you have given, vcsd soc3 stage.git, right? So always remember this commands is for particular repository which you created. And now I come back on my home, right? So I can see I have 3 repository created, right? Very simple process. Thank you, Pushpin. Anybody has any questions? Okay, guys, thank you very much. So thank you so much. Thank you, Pushpin. So let's go ahead and quickly see. Again, the same thing, I could have been skip this topic, but I believe we are working with this tool, and so at least we should know what we have here, right? So yeah, so we start with this part, right? So very first is the code part. So whatever you are putting in your repository, okay, this is the place where you click on this, you can see all the files in your repository, right? Very simple. Then you have issues. So this step is used to track the bugs, task, or something issue with the product. For example, if you access this Kubernetes repository, click on this issue, so maybe the new version has released, right? Or because everybody's working on the open source project. So if somebody use that or testing something and they found some issue, they can create over here, right? So they can also do the tracking as well as, and those who are admin, they can see, okay, this when this issue can be closed, whether this is fixed or issue can be assigned. It's kind of ticketing system, kind of, right? But it's a like more collaboration thing. It's there. Pull request, okay. So pull request is where you want to, or you propose, we will see how we can create this pull request, okay, today later in this section. But pull request, it means you work on something, okay, and you want to propose your changes to be merged with your production branch, I mean production code. I would not use branch at the moment. So you have to create a pull request, right? So as an admin, right? So for example, you are a manager, okay, or maybe manager, you are a reviewer of the code, right? You are mentoring some people, and they are doing the coding, and whether you're developer or QA or whoever, right? if you have a rights, or sometimes it might be happen, the techno managers, they only review, okay, and they say, and they give the feedback, okay guys, this is not correct, do it correctly. So instead of talking verbally, verbally, all this feedback is recorded using pull request. I will show you there. But pull request means, just consider you have made some changes and you want to merge those changes with your main code. Okay, then you ask somebody, those who are maintainer, those who are admin, or maybe senior DevOps in your team, or senior developer in your team, or senior QA in your team, or anybody who can review, or maybe your repository is set up in a way that and at least one person has to review whatever you are doing. So it's kind of like when we add a file, right, in Git. So Git, the file goes to a staging area where you have a chance to review. So similarly in pull request, this happens the same. You open a pull request, the guys who are in a approver or in a list of the pull request, they notified, and one of them, or maybe you ping them, okay guys, quickly review this, I have to go ahead and trigger the pipeline, right? So pull request is important, that's why I spend this much amount of time over here. Then GitHub action lets you do the automate your workflow. So like whatever we are doing in this rest of the tools we are learning, so Jenkins we will start and we will do all the automation, right? So here is the same thing, GitHub action it is called, right? So it's a feature from the GitHub to use your workflow like CI/CD and all this thing, right? And we are not gonna do action in this, right? Because we are we are learning the continuous integration thing of our DevOps part, right? Here, this is where you can manage the project, okay, task using Kanban kind of code, right? So which you get over here. Then Wiki tab is creating and maintaining documentation, right? So for example, this repository is hosted your CI/CD pipeline code, right? So in Wiki, you can write the detailed documentation or all, not the steps, okay, steps or these things will be mentioned in readme. So readme is kind of cheat sheet, but wiki is bigger one, right, where you explain everything. Okay, first execute the build step, then it will trigger this step, that step, and at the end this goes like this. Okay, if you are interested, explore this further. Security tab helps you to manage the security of the repository. Okay, so you can set up security policies, reviews the vulnerabilities, alerts manage. So like in last session I talk about the DevSecOps is emphasized on each and every part of the pipeline which I showed you, right? So here GitHub is also provide a tool where you can see whether issue with your code, any vulnerabilities there, or if you want to define a policies, right? So that could be done over here. So which is basically done by the DevSecOps or maybe from the security team, depends on the company. And sometimes no policy at all, if nobody knows anything, they really don't care, they just do their work, and until and unless they learn by very hard way. Okay, so that's a security thing. Inside here you can find the details statistics about your repository. So it's a new one, but I would say the two repositories which I showed you last time. So go to Linux repository and the Kubernetes repository, and go to the inside, you will see so many details, like when the first commit was happened, who are the collaborator and velocity, so many things. Okay, and here is the important part, this is your repository setting, this is not account setting, this is your repository setting. Okay, and we have this option over here online itself. If you want to create a file, right, so like you are admin of the and you are not doing anything, you got a ticket or request for a new project, so you have to set up the repository, you have done that. After that, you just want to create a readme file or maybe something else, right? You can just add file online over here. Okay, then about, so here you could see the description. So whatever description you have given the create at the time of creation of the repository, everything will be appears over here. Okay, so that's fine, but you have chance, here is the setting option, go ahead and change this. We will also see The watching means what? Like if if you want to see watching, it means whatever changes I'm making in this. If you want to watch, click on this button. So when any commits is happen, you will get notified and all these things. Fork, we will talk about this, right? Then here the releases, we will learn how we can create our own release. Okay, here the packages, if you have any package, right, you publish, so you could do over here. Additionally, I didn't mention one thing over here. When you go on any repository, then it below this there is an option. It says kind of I forgot the title, but it gives you the information which language was basically used. So if you visit Kubernetes, so mainly code was written in Go. Okay, if somebody asks you, okay, um, for example, Linux written in which language, so go to Linux repository, go down to this area, you could see, okay, the Linux is mostly written in C. Okay, so that's how you find. And here we have option code, which is also important, which is we are going to use, right? How we can do, I mean, when you click on this, you have three option basically. HTTPS, okay, you can copy and you can download the code for repository. Similarly, you have SSH option. We will see both how we can clone, okay, or download the repository using either of the method. And GitHub CLI is also, so when I started, this option was not available, right? So this is also kind of more integrated with their own ecosystem, right? So explore this. Here there is option learn more, so you will land with the GitHub CLI repository, and there are so many cool commands, right? But we are at the moment we are happy with the HTTPS and the SSH option and the conventional GitHub commands. Okay, honestly, I didn't set up any pipeline with the GitHub CLI. That's why I said when I started, this option was not available. If you want to explore, and yeah, I would say there is no harm to explore, because they came up with the idea and something is new. So maybe they already thought about, okay, there are some limitations with previous things, let's come up with something new. So explore this. Maybe later I will also explore, right? So this is this. And code space, here it says code space uses for this repository is paid by the dsoc3 dev1. So I'm not gonna pay for this, and that's why I'm not creating any of the code space. Okay, and so those are the features, right? And that's it on this topic. I have also created a comprehensive overview. Whatever I have shown you right here, there are some free features, there are some limited features. So if you are planning to explore, remember these things, what you have the limit. Okay, it should not be like that, okay, in excitement you explore everything and you end up with some kind of invoice from the GitHub. Okay, so those were the features I thought you should know. Any questions on this? Okay, guys, then let's go ahead and talk about thank you, Tarun. Thank you, Pradeep, Anish, Summer, everybody. Thank you very much. So let's talk about this another thing, right? What is this? Access control, PAT, and SSH. Very simple thing. Again, on your home page, right? So whether you have repository or not, no repository at all, right? Then go on this section, click on this, go to settings, right? After that, again, this is the part of your account setting area. Remember, this is your account setting where we create a PAT. PAT stands for personal access token. This is interview question. It is being asked, okay, because there are several places you I just showed you, right? You have a setting option. So never ever think you create access token in repository setting. Okay, so always remember. And here on the same page, very end, you have this option developer setting, right? Click on this, and then your screen will be changed like this, and by default it will come over here, GitHub apps. Okay, we are not interested in that. We are interested in this option. Okay, and what this option says, fine grain token and classic token. So there are two kind of thing over here, right? So first one is fine grain, right? And second one is classic token. So I mean, of course, it's a long definition. I make it shorter. So fine grain and your classic token. So there are two kinds of stuff, but fine grain are more secure, right? It gives you more control on the repository, right? So again, I would say go ahead and create, if you are being asked to create a token, create fine grained token, right? But it also says preview, and now we already know according to release cycle, it's in beta phase, right? It's a beta version, but still we could use this. There is no problem with that, right? Then I would say yes, go ahead and create this, because it provides you more control on what I mean, when you create this token and share with somebody, right? So you are not going to share with somebody. I will let you know where you use the token. Then that token, right? If by chance the token got compromised, again the security thing, right? So you give very limited access that particular to using by using that particular token, the user or the person can do what. Okay, so always go with this. Here I have put a summary. Okay, these are the options, these are the examples when you have to use what. Okay, read about this. Similarly, we also have this one, right? It says the classic token. Sorry, but when you click on this, you get again two kind of option: generate new token, right? And it is also beta, and generate new token classic. So when you click on this, so it's a fine grain itself, right? And classic one, when we go and see the hands-on, I will show you how it looks like. But again, this is where you can also click the click and create the uh, fine grain token. But as I said, yes, we have to see what is personal access token classic. So here it says the broad permission. This is the word broad permission. Allow access to all resources of your account, GitHub account has, right? So it's like you are creating a password, okay? So which works basically the same, but when you share this personal token or this classic one, then it can be used for your entire account, right? So don't go for it. But yes, if you are working on some application that doesn't support the fine grain token, then of course go ahead and use this. Again, it's a summary for the same, right? I'm not going to read the theory, I have put it for you. When also example, just take a time and read it. And here is also comparison table about both, right? So now let's come and create a token. So we are going to create fine grain token, right? So let's see one by one what we have. So in this screen, I have to given a name, token name. What token name is this? Okay, the resource owner, of course, it's me. Me means this user. And this expiration date, when you click on this, I will show you when we go to the GitHub account. Okay, by default, gives you the 30 days, 7 days, and custom option and no expiration at all. Okay, so create expiration, and when you set up expiration date, create this or set this according to your company policy. Okay, don't think, okay, I like 7 days, go. I like 1 year, I don't want to change it again and again, let's go it for 1 year. No, don't do like this. Okay, explicitly ask, okay, how long I need to keep or set this expiry of this token. Okay, you have this kind of ticket, or you're working on such thing, always ask. Okay, or maybe align with your company policies. And then you have to provide the description, and this part is done. Then in this part we have repository access. Here it says three kind of thing, right? Public repository, then it says all repository, and future as well. But if this is the case, why would have been start this first place? We would have been go for the or for the classic token, right? So here what I have done, I have three repository, and out of this I have selected one repository, right? And then once I select it, then it will show over here. But it also says I could choose 50 repository, okay, which is more than enough, right? Ideally, if you are a GitHub or a repository admin, and some dependencies here and there along in the repository, right? So in only select those repositories over here, right? So same token can work across all the repository. Okay, this is, they have not just given this for the fun, okay guys? So it's not just for that. There is a reason, and reason is which I experience. So reason is, uh, let's say one repository is your main code, another repository maybe some dependencies, or other repository is maybe your backend or something like that. So same code, if you are using in pipeline, so same your token can be used for all this repository. Okay, and that will be appear over here. Then what happened, as soon as you select the repository, so before we did have only, or we had only account permission, now we also got repository permission. So this case is only when you create this token, not in case of classic one. Okay, then when you click on the repository permission, because we also have to provide permission, by default there is no permissions, okay, and all these permissions you can control. Right here we are interested in the content, this one, okay, this one, and you have to provide read and write, that's it, nothing special. And then here you could see there are two selected, but we selected one. The reason for this, in by default here, maybe which, okay, there is a somewhere called metadata. Yeah, when you select any application, so metadata is by default selected. That's why in we are able to see the two permissions are there. Okay, and once you are done, right, so that's why we have two permission for one of your repository. Is explicitly says what is this. Okay, and when you click on generate token, and then you will be able to see one token is created. I have masked it. Okay, and important point over here, what is important, you need to copy and put it at a safe place, because once you leave this window or this page, you will not be able to see your token again. Okay, which is it says make sure copy your personal access token. Okay, because now as you will not be able to see this again. So I have already copy and pasted, right? And then I said okay, refresh, then you will be able to see only this screen. And it says of course never used, because I took the snapshot in that way. And this one there is no option to view again, and because it's a security. Okay, and you also receive a email, whatever email you have provided. Okay, it says okay, this token was created. And when you rotate, it means rotate is a term in DevOps security everywhere in IT, where when you change the secret, right, or when you change the token, right, when you delete the token or do any kind of, you will receive a notification, right? Very simple process. If you have any questions. Okay, Pushpin, thank you. Anybody else has any questions? Okay, thank you very much. So let's go ahead and thank you so much. So now we have created repository, right? We created our token, and now it's time to connect our repository, local repository, with the remote one. So we will be connecting with this one, devs, okay, which is publicly available, right? And so what I have to do in that case, first I have to select the repository, right? So simply I will click on this and I will go with this pen. So as I did not, or I didn't make any of the quick setup or any of the setup for this repository, then I have landed with this page. Okay, this option we have already talked about. This one we also talk about, but at the moment we are interested in this option. So we have to connect our local repository with the remote one, right? So let's see what this command says. Very first command, git remote add origin and this URL. Yes, Here vcsdsoc3 dash devs.git is our repository. Yes, we will execute this command. Next command, it says git branch m dash m men. We are not going to execute this command. Okay, we don't need to. Of course, these commands are there for your practice. You can see, you can copy, and you can paste, right? But I would like to show you, or I want to show you something else here. Okay, and second thing, it says git push dash u origin and main. This is the command we will explain. I will explain you what these commands are, but for the moment, just push, it means upload, right? Git branch is here, is this command is to rename the branch, right? Here we are linking our local system to remote one by URL, right? And it says, okay, you want to push, then use this command. But we are not gonna use this two command. We will be using, of course, we will use git push, but not in this way, right? So this way, y dash u option, I will not recommend you as a beginner. Even when you become expert DevOps, still don't use that dash u option. I'll come on that point later, but at the moment, don't go for this option, right? So let's see what happened. So I go to my project, dsoc3 project, and I said git branch, right? So my branch is master, right? It says git branch dash m men. So it means GitHub wants us to rename our master branch to the main branch. Yes, if you want to do, go ahead and do that. Okay, but it is strictly not necessary. That's why I put it as a red, and we are not gonna use dash or rename our command. We will be using master as is, or you can give your name as well. You can create any kind of, but when you initialize your git repository, by default by default, the branch name is created as a master. We'll also see what branch means here. Okay, consider it's a tree, and the main part of the tree, it's a master. Okay, I forgot the the name for that, what is called stem. Anyways, then the next command, it says git remote add origin and this long string. So before adding that, I just execute this command git remote. Okay, so it means, for example, you already clone a repository and you have so many repository, and you want to check whether this repository is connected with somewhere. Okay, so this command, and as I said, when in Linux, when you execute a command and you did not get any output, any error, right, simple, this kind of, then it means command got executed successfully. So this command is fine. Then I take it to the next level. Then I put git remote dash v. So dash v give me the information by which I can confirm whether it is connected with somewhere remote or not. Okay, so two command. Still we did not connect our local repository. We are just checking what happened. Okay, so git remote, when you execute this command, it will give you where it is connected. Okay, when you execute git remote dash v, it will give you the information where exactly it is connected. Okay, then next one, it says git push origin man. So yes, we are not gonna use man. We will be strict with our master. But before that, I tried to say, okay, git push. So I said git push, then it says no configured push destination. So we know we already run this command git remote and git remote dash v. We didn't get any output, right, from that command. But still we thought, okay, let's go ahead and see what happened when we just execute the command git push. So it says either specify the URL from the command line or configure a remote repository. And it also gives us a kind of syntax git remote add. And I explained you during our Linux session, when you have this angular bracket, it means these are the things you have to provide along with. So this is the command, right? And you have to provide this, you could say the argument or variable, whatever. And then it says push using the remote name. Okay, so this is our remote name. So git push and remote name, it helps us to figure out what we have to do next. Clear? Guys, if you have any confusion at any point, just interrupt me or raise your hand. I will come to you and clarify your doubt. Okay, because these things are really important for conceptual basis. Then next, what happened? Of course, we have taken this option, git remote add name URL. So what I have done since beginning, right? Git also suggested, okay, execute this command, and I said we will execute this command as is. So I said, okay, git here, git remote add. I have to put some name. So I have put origin. It's a git convention. You can put any name over here, whatever you like. But as a beginner, as a starting, origin is fine. Okay, I'll tell you what origin means. And then URL. So URL of your repository. So you can find it already, and we know what is this. This is provided. I mean, GitHub helped us to find this URL. So I put that URL as is, right? Basically, here origin means this long string. We are giving it some name, okay? And by default or in conventionally use as a origin. So it will make sense. See here. So git remote. So it gives us a name. And when I says git remote v, okay, or hyphen, not v, hyphen v or dash v. So it says origin, it's a name. We will also see what is fetch and push, okay, in a moment. But here both URL are the same, right? So now our repository is linked, local repository is linked with the remote repository. Okay, how you can confirm whether your repository is connected with any remote repository or not? So these are two commands, git remote, okay, which gives you the, I would say, the alias for this long string or name of this long string, or simply you could run command git remote dash v and you can also find this one. So https://github.com, the account owner name or the username and the repository name. Okay, this string will remain the same for your all the repository. Okay, and finally that's how we connected our repository with the remote repository. Simple process, right? Nothing complicated. Do you have any questions, guys, on this? Thank you, Pushpa. Okay, thank you so much for the feedback. Okay, Pradeep. Thank you. So let's go ahead. Now we connected with the repository. Now, thank you, Tarun, for the feedback. Now we created account, then we created a repository. Now, and after creating a repository, we created a token, right? So we are preparing. So now we've prepared very well. We also connected our local repository with the remote one. So here there are two options: cloning the remote code or repository. So like in previous section or previous topic, we talk about how we can connect, right? But we did not clone it at all. So cloning it means simply you are downloading the code from remote repository or remote location to your system. We do not say central system, okay, because it's a distributed, so we don't know where is. So that's why we use the term remote. So always remember, when especially when you are doing interview, okay, and you're switching, right, your role. So you must be remember, or you must use this terms which is very, the DevOps people are very used to. Okay, so always remember, that's how the interviewer distinguish you. Okay, and so let's see this clone one. So very simple, these are the public repository. Okay, it's a very simple command, git clone my https URL, which we saw on the, when we click on the this code option where we saw this http and ssh both. So from there I copied, right, and I could see my repository is here. Simple. Next thing, what I have done over here, so you may be come across the situation, right, you don't want to use the default name, right? So in that case, in this case, what happened, I have just given a name, devs. So what happened, this will clone all your code into this folder, and this folder will be automatically created over here. And now I don't need to explain you what dash t option with ls command, right? And I could see my repository, all the code will be pushed or clone into this, right? So clone, it means simply we are downloading and putting on the local. Additionally, we also have something like that. For example, you are working with one of the client, okay, and let's say these SOC 3 projects, and they have many repository. So what you can do, you said, okay, very first time you join a company and your fellow DevOps told you, okay, we work with many client, and for this client we have, let's say, 50 repository, okay, and because it might be more, it's 50 is very small number for enterprise level, right? And you are working for different accounts or different regions or different countries, right? So how you will manage the different code as a DevOps engineer working on infrastructure code, or as a developer working on several microservices, right? And each and every microservice has different repository. So it's not the case, but still. So in that case, you have choice, right? To put a name of the client or your project, and inside that you could say, okay, in this folder I want to clone the repository. So this is another way. Next way, you could also say, okay, that was the dev, this was the prod, it will clone it, this is the stage, right? And all repositories are same. Then I think desktop, this command, Ubuntu desktop by default, this command is there. If not, so just use sudo apt install tree and you will get this option, right? So I just read out this folder, and I could see, okay, all my projects, though all are same, but just give you the understanding. Since beginning, keep all your work sorted, okay? Don't let it be messy, okay? So maintain your project in that way. Thank you, Pushpin, for the feedback. Yes, so that's why I told you, nobody shows this thing, nobody wants to, because nobody wants to listen. But when you actually start working on the things, then you realize, oh god, what I have done. Okay, I should have been known these things from beginning. So that's what I'm sharing here. And then I go on this. So you could see when I go to this folder and I executed this command git status, so it says fatal, and we know what this error means, right? So this means this is not a git repository. So this is just a folder created, and inside that, when you go for devs or prod or stage, and when you execute a git command, that git command will be, that will give you some output. And in Linux, if we don't get any error, it means the command got executed successfully. But in this case, no, it's give us a fatal error, right? And additionally, one more thing, for example, you are working on particular code, right, or particular branch. So in that way, you can use the same command, but git clone dash b, right? And dash b, it means you want to specify a branch. So I said branch master, maybe it's a prod, maybe it's a stage, or maybe you're a developer working on bug, so maybe it's a bug or feature or whatever, right? And then you clone, and it will be cloned, right, as this. So but only with the particular branch, okay, when repository is very big, right? So this is one use case. Another use case, in one of my project, I reduced the CI/CD pipeline from 40 minutes to the 10 minutes. I'm talking about the automation part. Okay, so this is one of the thing which I used, because the pipeline was set up with the clone and the repository URL. So it was cloning everything, and the repository was, I think, more than 10 years old. So you imagine how big the code was, right? So that's why this is also one of the option I thought from my experience to share with you. Whenever you will be setting a pipeline, always okay, mention the branch in pipeline for that particular branch you are working for. Okay, maybe it's a bug, or maybe it's a feature, or whatever. Okay, so if that is the case, go ahead and do for this. If it is a production based, so whatever your branch is for production, use this feature and you will be rock. Okay, this command is very simple, right? If I directly tell you, okay, git clone, you can branch using particular command, so you might be wondering why I'm telling you this, what is the use of this command, right? So, and why should I put extra effort to say, okay, git clone dash b and the branch name and then again the URL? No, I don't want to do that. Now I told you, okay, this is the advantage of going in this way. Okay, and on your local system, you don't need, because you want to keep a copy on of the entire code on your system. That's why you perform the command git clone and your repository URL. Okay, so remember, out of all the options I have just shown you, this is the important one. Okay, and when setting up a pipeline, always mention the branch. Okay, and next what we have, okay, let's take it to the next level. Okay, it's a single branch. Okay, so yes, single branch, and I mean, of course, it also performs the same thing. It also clones your code from the remote repository, and this command also does the same thing. It will also clone your code from the particular branch, and which is master, right? And here we also says, okay, clone from the single branch, but let's see this one. But here what I have done, I have merged both the options, right? One option, git clone single branch, and then I specify the single branch name. Okay, you could see this also works, right? Because by default it goes with the branch which you have it on the remote, right? But I want to be more specific. Okay, so at the moment I had only master branch. Okay, if it is something else, then you have to provide the branch name. But you got the point. And what single branch means, right? Because dash b is also doing the same thing, right? So I said this option, git clone dash b, and that option, so both options are same. So what's the difference? How many people, I mean, how many of you have this question? Okay, I can do the same thing with dash b, so why you are doing another thing? Or dash dash single branch? Just give me a thumbs up if you have this thought. Okay, sure, Kushman. So when we initialize, I told you we have dot git folder, right? When we do git init command, then dot git folder is created. And I also told you, don't go in that and edit any of the things. Okay, because there are commands to do that. But just to show you how you can check it and what you should check, how you could verify, right? So here what I've done, I've said git clone dash b. It means I want to clone from particular branch, right? Here you could see, and it has done. Then I have taken, I mean, I just get out this config file, right? And it says core remote and branch master remote origin, blah blah blah, so many things, right? URL and fetch. Then in this one, what I have done, git clone single branch. So I use dash dash single branch option along with the dash b master. You can use any branch. Okay, I had only one branch, that's why I am using a master in this. When I put this snapshot, so I had only one command which was master. Okay, that's why I chose this one. Then I went back to the this one, right? It says D single branch clone. It's just folder name. So it's a default. Just for my understanding, I put it like that, and I have put again. I get out. It's a configuration. Okay. So dot this one, so I also got the same information, right? So both command, here it says branch clone, here it says default single branch clone. So what actually happened here when we compare these two branches? Okay, more specifically, right, if you go in this area of the cat, the file which we cat over here, the config file, here it says ref means your changes. Okay, head, I will show you what is this, but ref slash remote slash origin, and here it says strict or star, however you call it, and here it says master. So here it gives you everything on the origin, whatever you have. Okay, still you are going to use a particular branch, but here out of origin still it is cloning you for everything, right? And here we restricted the changes. We don't want every changes, right? We only want changes which belong to master branch or whatever branch you have, right? So that's why here it says star, and here is the name of the branch. And this is the next level of your optimization. So in this way, if you observe your pipeline is taking really longer time, so go and analyze each and every stage of your pipeline. And specifically, most of the time I found, we also see, I will also demonstrate you when we start Jenkins part, okay, and creating our own pipeline. But just visualize in your thought Jenkins, right? So in SCM, in the this part, when it clones the code from the remote repository, when you have this one, then it will, let's say when you clone using this, it has to download 10 GB, and when you clone using this, it has to download 1 GB. So now it makes sense for you. Okay, of course, 10 GB text, downloading a 10 GB takes more time rather than 1 GB, right? Don't take it literally, I just gave you the example. But yes, sometimes codes are maybe more in size. So this is how the way you can become a pro, okay, and superhero to save your resources of your company. Okay, and thank you, Pushpin. Yeah, so guys, these are not the book knowledge, right? This is the my experience I observe and I'm sharing with you. Maybe I'm exaggerating this thing. Okay, so here I put a summary. See, you can read it, but out of this I didn't tell you this command mirror. If you are cloning mirror, it's used for the, consider this as a for a backup. So when you have of course from remote server, locals, everywhere you have, but you also have a backup system, right? So you could use git clone, right? Or maybe for some places you are taking backup every day, right? So you could use git clone mirror. I mean, the backup place you can initialize as a git repository, and you can clone this thing every day. Or maybe let's put it simple way, if you are a repository somewhere, right, and you have to take a backup, use clone dash dash mirror, so it you will get everything whatever is there on your remote system. Okay, so it's kind of backup. Any questions on this? Okay, thank you. um okay, thank you for the feedback. Let's go ahead and now we clone, right? So we will make some changes and we will push our repository to the remote one. So let's see what we have. So this is what we have done. We linked our local repository with the remote repository, right? So these are the steps we have performed, and we know how we can check whether it is linked or not. So you could simply run this command. So it might be possible as a developer, okay, because the developer has a lot, they have to work a lot on the code, right? So maybe you work in a consultancy company and you're working on, and if you want to find you're good with the Linux, so you can run the command and you can execute this command in each and every maybe by script, right? And you can identify whether the repository is like initialized or not. Just this random example came to my mind. Okay, so here we have linked, but we did not push anything to the remote. So what I have done, git push origin. Okay, before I did git push and nothing, then now we know we have origin, right? So I put git push origin, so it's the same if I type git push https colon github.com/ my username, that's repository, that will also work. But instead of, I mean, that's a cumbersome, right? That's something why should I have to type the same big string again and again? So that's why I've given a name origin, right? And it's a convention, so everybody follows the same. And I think it's good to follow the same standard. You don't need to be a hero in this case. So here again we got some error, and this error says git push dash dash set upstream origin master. And I would say don't execute this command, because it will by default, like, if you don't set, right, because we are human, it is possible when you make some changes, right, and accidentally you make changes instead of your development. Let's say your AWS infrastructure, right? So you are testing on some to upgrade Kubernetes cluster using Terraform as a code. So instead of your test code or part test copy of your code, right? So in GitHub we or Git we have branches, right? Instead of, I would say, copy, we have branches. So when I say branch, it means consider as a copy of the code, right? So instead of working on your test code, accidentally you forgot to switch the branch, because you said, okay, I'm very confident, I know I have to make a lot of changes. So by default I said, okay, set up upstream my production, and you forgot switch to, I mean, you switch the branch in repository, but you forgot to change this upstream, right? Which is by default somewhere in your configuration file, git configuration file, and accidentally you push the code over there. Or maybe you edited a code in the wrong branch and you push somewhere else, right? So that's why, I mean, I personally don't use it, right? Because I saw a very severe consequences happen because of the Kubernetes thing with one of my colleague. He or she was almost on a point to fired from the company. It was really, it was not mistake, it was a blunder. Okay, so that's why, yes, these options are good for automation, right? Because automations are well tested, then you can use those options. But when we are doing from our system locally, don't use this. I mean, that's my personal recommendation, but it's up to you guys what you want to do. My job is to, not my job, I wanted to explain you what then how dangerous it could be, and which is what I did. So don't use upstream, and that dash u option was also the same. If you go back and see the command, right, git push origin dash u or something like that, and master. So of course at the end, right, so it was the same. So at the end you are giving, by this command you are updating a configuration file and saying, okay, when I said no branch at all, use the master by default. And that's what I don't want you to do that. Okay, so this is what on this one. And then next, what happened, git push origin man, right? So what happened before, sorry, I did any mistake, yeah. Okay, this was the command over here. Yeah, so basically it says the same thing, separate stream, and but in short form dash u. And most of the time what initially we think you as a user or something, right? So don't go with this option, but it's still up to you. So I use git push origin main, okay, because GitHub default branch is main, and it says src ref spec main, and does not match any uh, so why this? Because um, it didn't find a remote repository. Okay, so I mean, not repository, sorry, the branch, and we have, and that's why it says failed to push some of the refs to this one, because local branch is master and there is nothing over there, right? Kind of main, right? So here we have to mention a branch, but I put a branch name main, right, instead of master. And when, if you want to do that, first rename the branch git branch dash m, okay, and maybe you find this small m as well, so yeah, you could do that, renaming the branch. I will tell you what is the difference of this capital and small letter in git branch letter. So in this case, if you want to stick with the main branch, go ahead and rename your local master branch as a main and push, it will work. But we want to do something else, right? So before I've done like this, now I put the command git push origin master. Okay, so I'm asking git master branch, whatever you have in my local master branch, put everything to the remote. Okay, and that's what this command is doing. And then git push origin master, I think both are the same. One moment. Okay, sorry, I forgot to tell you one thing over here. So in this, what happened, git push origin master, right? So here it asks for the username. I provided my username over here, dsoc3, right? And it asked me for the password. So here we cannot use a password, right? So I provided, not the password, just any string. So it gives me the error and it says, okay, August 13 2021. So since that day, GitHub is no longer, you cannot access GitHub via CLI using your password. That is only for your uh, GI, right, or web portal. So that's why we created a personal access token. So copy paste the personal access token over here, and in the next step, what I have done, I did the same thing. I provided a username and then I provided a token, not the password. It still says the password. I think they should change this, or if you want to open a what is called feature request to Git, right, go to Git repository, GitHub repository, in issue section, ask them, okay guys, may change this thing, instead of password it should show me as a give a personal access token. Simple, right? And yeah, I provided, and then it says new branch. Here the important thing, it says new branch. Remember, if the branch is not present at your remote repository, you will see this thing. Okay, new branch, master to master, right? And your all the code has been pushed to your remote repository. How can I check? If I go back over here, right, and before it was, so if you will follow along the scenario, observe, you will first see this one main branch, and once you push, this branch will be automatically renamed or created, I would say, the your default branch master. Okay, and additionally here we have two commits, right? And when you click on this, you could see all your maybe you can see over here, okay, whatever we have on local, we have on remote repository. And here it says author. I still remember, Tarun, your question, and yes, that's the question. I will address that. Okay, so here it's my the username, and it's my uh, auto detected, okay, auto detected email address. And same thing, you could also see here my first Ubuntu installation, committed last week, and this long string, but here I think it's seven, yeah, seven string. So first seven string you could match like this. Okay, so my, that's why it's in distributed, whatever you have on local system, everything will be on your remote system, right? And once some other people will come, other your teammate will join, if they clone this repository, they will get the entire history of the project. That's why distributed is amazing. So that's what actually happened in this one, right? So we have done the final push. And do you have any questions, guys, on this? No, I take as a no. Okay. So, okay. So from my side, this section is completed. Okay, we have already seen this thing, securing account, what are the options available on the repository. We initialize the repository, create a access token, SSH I didn't tell you, right? And we connect remote repository. We also see a several cloning, but that is not only the limit one. I will show you more option of the cloning, right? And then finally we push, right? So that's how we finish with the section 3. And now it's time to go with this part. Okay, break guys here 10 minutes, and then we will come back again in 10 minutes and we will see the more advanced thing in this section. Good, good. Okay guys, so okay, thank you Pushpin, thank you so much. So guys, go and take a break, then we see each other in 10 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm back. Please give me quick confirmation if you are back too. Okay, thank you so much, Tarun. All right, guys. So let's level more up our game, right? So in this section, I will talk more advanced things. Okay, we start with seamless access. How? Because I realize when you go ahead and do this using access your repository, okay, you have to work so many things. You have to push, you have to pull, you have to clone, not clone, fetch, like all this kind of thing. Then all the times providing a token, it's kind of headache, right? So in this topic, right, we will talk how we can have something else instead of providing a personal access token all the time, right? We will, in this section I will cover Tarun, your question which you put on, you also raised, okay, and you also put it on our previous session videos on YouTube in the comment section. I really appreciate that. And I believe that is also people, many other people have the same kind of, because that obviously created a confusion, right? So I will answer here, right? And this is one of the most, you're welcome, Tarun, one of the most confusing part. If I'm telling lie, search, and if you did not find this confusing topic apart from this staging and commit area, right, then just say okay, I'm a liar. Okay, then we will so here we will see the branching strategies, right? um I try my best, I would not say best, but yeah, the current potential, I try to make it simplified. And let me know end of this session what do you think. And then we will see how merging happened. Then we also came across the scenario where we have to undo the things, right? We will also see how ignore things like git ignore, basically we'll talk here about. And how when we work in a team or people, many people, how we use GitHub. In this section we'll talk about that. And this section is really really important. Here we will go more beyond the basic things. Okay, so let's start with very first thing. Previously when we created personal access token, so I put that same thing, but I saved this topic, or I don't want to create a confusion or chaos, right? Put bomb or drop a bomb on that. Instead of, I just simplified things one at a time. In this section we will talk how you can generate the SSH key, you can add into your GitHub account, and you can use it day to day, right? But I will also talk about the best practices, okay, how you can use it, and what to share, what not to share as well while creating a SSH key. So first of all, where you find the SSH key, right? So for this, guys, there is a one thing I would like to mention over here. All the git commands, all the git commands start with git, okay? If there is if you don't see start of any of the command from the git, or there is no word git in a start, it means it is not a git command. Okay, so you should not be confused with that. And that's why we start Linux very first module, right? Because Linux is the core skills for working in a DevOps environment. Okay, so it's very simple command. How? ls-al. So a is, you know why we use dash a, why we use l, right? This is the location where you find your SSH configuration. So for this you do not have to be install SSH server on your system. Okay, by default SSH client is there, right? And you will get this .ssh already in your Linux system. So this is the location, and this is the configuration file that, and which is in your home directory. That's why the tilde sign represent the it's alias for your home directory, right? So if you go over there, I mean already I'm at my home. location, but still if you are executing the command, so you could execute like this dot ssh, and you find here this three things: dot dot dot. Dot means current directory, dot dot means it's information of its parent directory, and then you have authorized key. So this many information are over here. So far, if you see this, it means you do not have any ssh key at all in your system, right? Generated. So in order to generate the SSH key, this is the command. I will also put the documentation link when we upload this video, and I will also share with you, right? Very good documentation, step by step. I mean, I would not say step by step, but yeah, that's a good, or simply you can follow this command, simple. So SSH dash keygen, it's to, we are generating SSH key dash T, and this is kind of cryptographic algorithm we are using to generate the key. This is again a security topic. We are not going into that, but for us, it's enough to know, okay, GitHub support this. And when you go to the documentation, you will find more other supported key. And guys, the one more point I would like to mention over here: whenever you are creating SSH key, so you are creating SSH key for a specific purpose you are going to use. So in this case, we are going to use this SSH key for our GitHub account, right? Or GitHub. If you are creating SSH key for, let's say, for other Linux, or maybe using in your pipeline, so wherever you are using, so always remember the what kind of this part, this kind of which kind of key you are going to generate, and that key is supported by that service or not. Okay, and because of that, many people end up with troubleshooting and wasting hours of time. I also did myself, and I learned. That's why I'm telling you. So always first check in documentation, official documentation, what kind of key is supported by this service. In our case, it's a GitHub. If you are using Jenkins, or maybe setting up a Kubernetes cluster where you have SSH or keyless based authentication, I mean without key, just the servers can communicate. I will also show you when we set up a cluster, but at the moment, always remember which kind of key is supported by your system, right? So here what I have done, I have used this command ssh key gen. It's a simple key gen or key gen, whatever, however you dash 3. And here I said, okay, this cryptographic algorithm I want to use, and here I provided the email address, right? This email address by default recognized by the git command on my system, dsoc3 at the rate server1 dash master dot dsoc dot local. That's it, right? After that, what I've done, I hit enter, then hit enter, then it gives, okay, generating public private key. It will create two keys. We'll come on that, right? Here it says enter file in which to save the key. Don't touch this. Okay, go with by default. If you are expert in SSH server configuration, then okay, that's a different case. But here we are happy with the default, and it gives you where this default keys are going to save, right? And maybe if interviewer ask you this SSH batch authentication in GitHub, you could say, okay, this is the location where default keys are created. Here it creates public as well as private. Okay, then it asks you to enter passphrase as a starting beginning. I mean, I would not recommend, but you are just for practicing. But if you want to create passphrase, so here passphrase is means simple, the password. Okay, whatever password you want to type, just type it. If you don't type any password, that's completely fine. Hit enter. It asks you, okay, enter the same passphrase again, then again hit enter. Okay, and you said, it says your identification has been saved here and here, two places. Here it says dot pub. So dot pub, it means it's a public, right? And this is your private key. Okay, without any extension, it is your private key, and you must not share this key with anybody at all. Okay, always remember, whenever you are configuring anything with the key based, you always configure a public key, not the private. Okay, private key is used to decrypt the message. So these keys are public and private, so it's again cryptographic thing. Okay, when I was doing engineering, the cryptography was one of my favorite subject. There is still a book, go ahead and read that. There are so many stuff out there, but for understanding, or for us, or what I want you to remember, never ever share this your public key. Okay, so here key means some kind of a string. It is generated when you generate, so you can also read this, maybe use less command or cat command. You can see the content of this file. Okay, and this is your public key. You basically copy this to the GitHub, and then it says key fingerprint. These are also sensitive things. Okay, don't share. That's why I mask it over here. It's not like, anyways, I'm not gonna use it forever, but it's still, I mask it here so you remember. You should not also, you should also protect the key fingerprints as well, because this is used to uh, verify the identity. And here it's kind of image generated. You will see the entire this output. Okay, once you generate, so when you generate, you will see this kind of image. Okay, so don't share this part. I mean, of course, it doesn't reveal anything, but it is also good idea to not accidentally expose this. Okay, so this is how you generate a key. And once it is generated, then we come back again on the same, and we executed the same command. Then what happened? ID, and this is EDB, what the algorithm we use, or dash T, and this is my public key. So these two kind of keys are generated using this command, right? But I'm working with many projects, right? Many clients, or maybe I'm a global admin in one of the company for a particular GitHub, and not only one GitHub, many GitHub accounts I'm handling. I'm core GitHub admin, right? Or maybe I'm a developer, or maybe I'm a DevOps or QA. So I'm working on so many so many clients. So in that case, if I'm using my same key everywhere, it's not good idea. Or maybe like this, right? So it just give me the default name, and I'm not happy with that. So what we can do, we have other option, the same option, but additionally here we said, okay, dash f, the file, and is the same home directory, and then ssh directory. Inside that, I just given a name. So just this name, for example, this is my username, and I mean, not username, username of the GitHub account, right? And let's say the client one, and let's say account is Africa. So in this way, you can create and manage your SSH key very sorted way, because this SSH keys is not only for your GitHub. Maybe you are working on other project, maybe you are setting up a pipeline, right? So always give a meaningful name, so later on when you have thousands of file in this directory, you can remember, okay, what is this for? I mean, though you have documentation when you work in company, but when you, since beginning, when you start in sorted way, then it will become your habit. Okay, I learn all these things very later, and just out of curiosity. Okay, nobody is going to teach you or tell you, but it's better to have like this. So very first, I've given this file name. Second, it asked me for the passphrase. I didn't put anything, right? And after that, the key was generated, right? And here you could see again, I have given the two things. One is, this one is my private key, and this one is public key with the dot pub, right? And what happened, like I introduce here, when you use passphrase, then what happened? So of course, it's a best practice to go ahead and use that, right? So for example, we have given a passphrase during a key. So when you clone, git clone like this, your username repository, so it says cloning into repository, and it will ask you enter passphrase for the key which is over here. So it's similar to your two-factor authentication. So though my key is stolen, but person doesn't know what passphrase I used for, so cannot use, right? but it is not helpful, because if you are doing automation, right, in pipeline, then what happened? Your pipeline got stuck at this phase and it asked the manually enter the password. So that is not good. In that case, it won't fit at all, right? But on your local system, yeah, as a best practice, it says yes, go ahead and use that, no harm at all. Then once you're done, you create. So of course you can cat the your file, right? Or you could have a better way that is called xclip. Xclip is the command to clip copy your public key on the clipboard. And if you're on Mac, so p pub or something, I forgot the name, there is another utility. But we are working on Linux, so it's fine. Okay, if it is not, just install. It will give you this option, sudo apt install xclip. Once it is installed, then you could uh, yeah, here we say install, and here xclip dash sel for select, and we say clip, and then we are using the redirection of this to this. So when you execute this command and I did not get any error, it means this command executed successfully. And then here I come back to my SSH key part, right, which is right over here. So when it asks me to add a SSH key, so I can, I mean, right here, click on this option. You know how we can go over here and here give a meaningful name, here paste your key, okay, what is copied on the clipboard. Here I have just deleted, I didn't paste, but just to give you the start will be looks like this, and this is my username, right? If your session is too long, right, or I mean, in my case this happened, but you also share your experience what happened when you are doing it continuously, then it asks me for the two-factor authentication code. So again, I go to my this one, what called authenticator app, and here from that I could provide a 6-digit code, and once I have done, then it says okay, you have successfully added the key, this one, like this. And again, I have also masked my fingerprint, what it says over here, and this is how your key is added. Now this is the key addition part. Okay, then if you remember this part, right, or right below the code, so we talk about two things. So since beginning, I mean, before we use this https option, but here there is option ssh, and this time, okay, remember, you cannot use this one, because if you go ahead and use this, then it will ask you for the personal access token, and using ssh, which is more convenient. So you have to copy this path, come over here, and you could see there is, in this one I do not have anything. Then I said git clone, and I have given this uh, I mean, of course I copy paste the command, I mean the url, and I given the name using ssh key, and it says okay, all these things. But here the important part I would like to mention, it says this key is not known by any other names, and do you, I mean, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Say yes. Okay, because whenever you do first time login on any of the server, then your ssh configuration directory will be updated if you say yes or no. Okay, so it will go into your known host. So once it is done, then you could see this one, known host, right? And if I again do like this, so I can see using ssh key, this directory is cloned using ssh option, right? Then the same thing I would like to mention over here. So initially we did not have anything. Once we have done this, then here known host, this directory was created, right? And inside you could see these are also important thing. You could see the permissions only, it has read, right? And same thing, your personal, right, your the private key only you can read this. And now you know, that's why when we talk in Linux, so I told you why should you know about the permission things, right? So here we have read as well as the write as a honor. Rest everything is dash, it means no other, no group, nobody else can read this. And for your public, it's a different one, right? it says read for others and read for, read for group and read for others as well. And that's why I was saying you can share your public key only. Okay, so yep, this is the thing. Additionally, the quick rundown on this. So after that, I check, okay, status is fine. Then I just created a test file, right? I did lst, this is the file. Then I add this file, then I commit it. And again, it says committer, this one. Okay, and I said git status, all good. Then finally, I said git push. And guys, this time I did not have to mention anything, right? Git push origin, because when I clone, automatically this part was set up in the repository .git directory configuration, right? If you want to know when you are doing this, right, so go ahead and right after this do the cat .git and config, so you will get in origin what is there, right? And yeah, this has happened. And after that, what happened, I go to my remote repository and I again check this commit code. These codes are very important when we create a pipeline. I will tell you why. Okay, right now I don't want to make more confusion, but remember these 7 8 strings are really powerful, and we will be heavily leveraging this. And here, if I, this is another command, git log dash dash one line. I don't want to see a long history of the details, right? So I can use one line, and here I can see my all the comments are matching with this. So in short form, right? Before I go and show you troubleshooting, is this clear so far? Quick reaction. Okay, thank you, Pushpendra. And okay, oh, thank you so much. So guys, there is one thing commonly you will come across with, if you come across with this git push origin, okay, permission denied public key. Okay, this happened, then you need to do some troubleshooting. Okay, I will share all the steps in when we upload this, but at the moment I'm not sharing. When you get this, okay, follow the documentation, because I want you to involve into the troubleshooting. Okay, I don't want to I don't want to show you at the moment, and in next session, today is already too long, but next session I will tell you what these things. Okay, so you probably get this, and there are so many things over here. Why? And you have to also let me know why you got this. Okay, so that's this much on this topic. And now we start with profile selection. Let's see profile perfection, what we have over here. So here, how you see what, so guys, if you see or if you read the documentation, this step usually perform very initially, and that is best practice. But I didn't tell you at the very beginning, because you know what is the, what happened when you don't do this, right? So what happened basically, if we go back over here, so you can see when I commit, right? So it says my first Ubuntu installation committed. It is not giving me the who has done what, right? So Git is also a tool that tracks who has done what changes. And if I am like this, when you click on this, when you are doing, you won't find a email address, okay? Because email address is kind of not shown. Okay, so of course, when you are working in a company, you know your colleague or by the name and all this thing. But the case like Linux and the Kubernetes repository, it's a very big thing, right? So we want to see who has done what to track. So to track, we need the identity, right? And that's why here this section is for, where we have to perform, or we have to do the configuration and let Git know, okay, this is me. Okay, And that's why git config is one of the command. And by default, if you see git config dash dash list, and it says okay, nothing is configured. Right here we cannot see, we can see the branch.master merge is like this, and origin fetch is like this, url is like this, because this is this repository, right? And but we do not have any user related information. Additionally, we could also see in this one cat.git config, don't ever edit this file manually. Okay, even though you are expert, but I would not recommend. We have commands to do that, and the commands to do that, like this git config is the command, you can edit the files. Okay, so don't ever do this. But here you have little bit more good visualization. So you have core, remote, branches, you could see the master, remote, origin, merge, and all these things. Okay, so these are the two ways by which you can check whether the configuration of the user profile is configured or not. Okay, so at the moment we do not have anything, so we go ahead and perform this task. And here I use local. So why I'm choosing local? In configuration, when this we got this fatal error, you see the dash dash global, right? So by default, if you don't put dash dash global or dash dash local, it is going to be configure for your local or that repository you are in or you're working on, particular repository. Okay, so same thing when you have so many clients, right, and so many projects you're working on. So always it's a good to set up with the dash dash local. I personally experienced I made changes somewhere else, and that was the problematic, because when it was tracked, so it was not showing my name, right? Because the client has different, they given a different email id, my email id for other client was completely different, right? So because of that, always it's a best practice to configure it local. It means for specific repository. Okay, I was not fired at all. Okay, my manager was awesome. So okay, continue with this. So again, I executed this command git config dash dash local user dot name. I have given a name dsoc3, and then I execute this command. Here I got one information user dot name dsoc3, which was not before, right? Same if I, and after that after that I execute this command git config dash dash local user dot email. This time I did not choose my host name. I have just chosen dsoc3 dot local. Guys, here you can give any fake email. Okay, just for the, I mean, you can give just for the practice purpose, but when you actually work, you should provide your actual email id, your actual email username. Okay, and after executing this command, we do not have any error. It means the command got executed successfully. Then again we check the configuration, and in this configuration, user.name user.email, so dsoc3 at the rate dsoc3 dot local, this is the email id, right? Then what happened, I get out this file, and now, I mean, this was before, and when we compare before and after, so everything is same, but we got a new field that is user, which was not before. And now I have username this and email is this one, right? And that's how we do the configuration of this. And after doing this, I make changes, I do the commit, and here you could see after that I push. So since here, this one, my first Ubuntu installation, and this was the email address, and in this commit, right, I, before making this commit, I updated my profile, and that's what I said, my profile updates. And you could see author is dsoc3 and email address is this. It's not saying anymore the default values. Okay, and when I see go my remote repository, I could see dsoc3 as my username, right, which was configured on local repository. So this is how you could see very quickly, okay, this guy was made these changes, this guy was made these changes, this guy was made this many changes, right? And if you want to blame, you can blame, okay, dsoc3, you did mistake, that was because of your this particular commit, the production got burned. Okay, so hopefully you will not be blamed. Okay, so that's why we need the configuration initially. And if you see, right? Okay, so this was my server one dash master dot dsoc3 dot local, but in configuration I use only username dsoc3 and email as a dsoc3 dot local. So dsoc3 at the rate dsoc3 local. So it if you do not have any, I mean, if you don't configure this, then Git will by default go and check what is the host name configure on your machine where you are executing the command. Okay, and in our case it was, the name was my ubuntu, my first ubuntu installation, and it did not have any kind of a domain. So here we have selected dot local at the end, right? So ubuntu find, okay, I did not find anything, and after that in bracket it says none, because it was looking for kind of domain .com .local .net .org or something like that. Okay, and it didn't find, and it throws us error, fatal error. Okay, and then we change the host name to this one, then get satisfied. Okay, now I have dot local was your extension. And when we executed this git config commands, then we specifically or explicitly inform git, okay, git, don't use my default or system settings or server settings, right? Use the things which I'm providing you. So I provided, okay, git config user dot name is this one, git config user dot email address this one, and then that is saved in this one. So this again I quickly show you, right? And this was, the field was not there before, and that's why we have been seeing the same default things again and again here. So now we have set up our repository, we did the configuration, and now you know what problem happen when we don't do this. So I mean, initially if I showed you this command, then you might be wondering, okay, simple command, nothing is special. Okay, we'll do that. But now you know the what consequences of this, right? So that's how it is done. Very simple thing. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I take it as a no. Okay, Tarun, thank you. Okay, someone, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So next topic is our branching, right? As I said, it is one of the most confusing thing, and I believe you will be agree with me when I show this concept, then all doubt will be clear. Okay. So branching is basically when we say branch in a Git, it means we are just making a copy. So Control C, Control V, right? But in Git, we say different way and we do it in different way instead of Control C and Control V, right? So to create a branch, what I have done, I still am the same repository I'm using, right? I said git log one line. So last log was my profile updated, right? Here we did the SSH testing. These are things which I tested, right? Now what I'm going to do, there is one more command you could see like what is happening. So git log dash dash graph decorate all one line. So it will give you, guys, if when you do practice, execute this command each and every time and see what happened with this thing. Okay, I will show you later what happened when I executed this command, right? But it will give you more insight what is happening. Okay, when this straight line goes something here, there, and all this thing. Okay, so this way we can check we do not have anything, right? So first of all, what I have done on this, I checked, okay, git branch, right? And it's git branch is the command to check which branch I am. So it says master. Then I said, okay, what files do I have? Git ls dash files. I told you last time to how we can check whether git files are there. I mean, which files git is tracking. So when you execute this command, it says, okay, these many things. Okay, now what happened at this moment? So at this moment, this is the situation of my repository, my code. This is this dot consider as a commit. right? Or point in time, and here it's a master. And how you can identify them whether it's master or not? So it says star. So at the moment we do not have much branch, only one branch, which is master, right? Next, what I will do next, I will do this thing. Oh, sorry. Okay, this one. Then I said git branch. I mean, after this, I said git branch b1, right? And to check whether branch is created or not. So this is the command by which you can create a command. So we created branch b1. It can be a feature branch, it can be a bug fix branch, or it can be a patch branch, or whatever we saw in the release, right? But just for our simplicity, for the explanation, I choose a branch b1, right? And when I executed this command, still it says star master. It means still my branch, right? My branch is b1 created, right? Like this happened, but still the head. So head is the pointer which is pointing to your changes. So, and in by the command you can see by this star. Okay, and for our representation, just presenting you or visualization, I just put is as a head like this. So star, by which by the command, in the command you can see by the star which one, which branch head is currently pointing to. So it's the same, like, I don't know whether you know about this cassette, the old time when we have this tap recorder. So there is a tap in that, so whatever magnetic tap is going on that, it plays the same music. Similarly, the same concept, whatever head is pointing, it is pointing to your files and directory in there. So still we just created a branch, but we are not at branch b1. So in order to switch the branch, I have something else. So what I have done, we have another command. We said git checkout branch b1. When I have done this, so it says switched to branch b1. Okay, I can also confirm by this command git branch, and now the star is moved from here to b1. And what happened in so yes, so this happened actually, and this star is going to branch b1, right? So by the command we can identify, and head is not pointing to branch b1. So branch b1 here created, right? Branch checkout, we check out the branch, right? And after checkout, we check the files, right? So all the files which we had in branch master, we got the same profile protection.txt, readme file, and ssh test, right? So that's why whenever you said branch, it means you are creating a branch. It means you are replicating the copy of whatever things which you have in your master branch, or from any branch. I mean, it's not like that you always check out from the master branch. No, from any branch to any branch you can check out. Okay, so far clear? Okay, thank you. What about else, guys? It's clear for you, or should I explain? Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and see next walk. So now I can check by git log one line. So same 4 commits were there. So these are your refs, these are your changes. Okay, everything we got once we check out the branch. Okay, and after that, here, so when we had a branch, this one master, right? And when we check out and we switch the branch, still both the commits are we got over here, right? So same thing, I mean, whatever we had in master, we check out, so we got the same copy along with the all the files, all the logs, everything, right? Next, see what happened. We can also confirm this, already checked, right? Okay. So git branch is one of the commands by which you can create a branch, right? And there's other options. You could do on not only create, you could list, you could delete, you could merge the branch as well, right? When you say git branch dash a, it will show you all the branches what you have. When you specifically specify r, it means it will show you the remote branches. And here you have option b and d. So both does the same option, right? So when you have this option -m, right? So I told you in a moment we will come and I'll tell you what this capital and small letter means. So D will also delete the branch, and capital D is more forcefully, but this is safe to execute. Okay, and it is kind of unsafe, but yeah, sometimes you need to execute. And similarly, M is to rename the branch, and capital M is to forcefully doing the thing. And there are some other options as well you can list as well, but I think -A is enough, and -D, what you need to delete sometimes you require. And sometimes if you need to rename the branch, you could do this. Okay, and this is the example summary. Try to practice this. Okay, and I think that's enough on the branching. Do you have any questions on this? Okay, I take it as a no. And I quickly go ahead and show you how we do the merging. Okay, Samar, thank you very much for the feedback. Okay, so merging, it's a simple. We created a branch, we make a copy. Okay, once we make a copy, then what we do? So in this case, we had like this, right? And this one, it was showing like this, right? So I already, you could see I'm at branch B1, that's why it's pointing like this. Okay, and here I have this many file. That's what I've done. I quickly just echo use the Linux commands, right? And put content. So vertical, basically this command echo the content and put in this file, so that's the redirection, right? Then I put execute this command, git add dot, then did the commit. And after commit, what happened? Let's see. This is what happened. And I see the logs, right? When I see the logs, so this is my commit ID, right? It says head, it's pointing to B1, and that's why we are showing, oh, here. And this is my commit message, which I have given in the previous one, right? Commit at B1 branch filed, this one added, right? So same everything I can see in the logs. So when I did commit, so this commit is at B1 branch. It is still at B1 branch, and head is pointing to this one, right? Now, what happened in this one? I switched the command, right? I mean, you could see git checkout master. So when I have to switch one branch to another, I will use the command git checkout. Okay, and as soon as I check out, then head is pointing to master because I check out to master branch. Okay, so whatever I'm gonna do now, it will impact the master branch. It is not going to impact the B1 branch, right? But we want to merge. So first we have to go to the branch, okay, where we want to merge. So in this case, before head was pointing to B1, it means we were on branch B1, and we want to merge the B1 branch into the master. So first we have to go to the branch master. That's why I did the checkout, right? And go to the master. Once I'm at master, then I have to execute this command, git merge. I'm executing this command on master. Okay, and I want to say, okay, what branch I want to merge into the master branch. So I have given the branch B1 as a name, and then what happened? Now branch is merged into the master branch. Okay, it says like updating this. Okay, fast forward, merge this one plus, I mean one thing, one file is changed, one is insertion, and all these things. And now head is moved to the new commit. Okay, it is no more pointing to this one, but still the branch is master, and branch B1 was not deleted. Always remember, branch is not deleted in this operation. This command is safe to execute. Okay, now what happened? Now branch is merged, right? And when we see all this, and here you could see the head says master B1. It means here this commit ID 5D PDA01, and this is same, both are same, right? So but basically this commit ID is also merged into the branch B1. Okay, that's how we merge the changes into from one branch to another branch. So consider a scenario. This was the initial release, we got a bug, then we created a, let's say, branch bug as a B1. we did work, we did testing, right? And we deployed this our testing environment, everything was fine, and we satisfied. Then we merge back those changes to the master, or master consider as your production code, right? Then you merge into this. But because of this tool, we could do the collaboration, we could do the merging, and this is called integration of the code. And this thing is done by the automation, and this why this is a part of the continuous integration. So when we use tools, right, like Jenkins, which does all these things automatically, okay. But on local system, we have to perform this thing, right? And once we push, and then this continuous integration happens, right? So very simple, right? So now Git also has, and both has the same commit ID, right? So this is the way you can do the merging of the branches, or merge of the code. Okay. So from my side, I think on these are the options. I use Squish as well. Sometimes you also need no commits, right? Here is the example I have provided. You can try and see what happened with each and every. But when you have to merge, always remember git branch name is to create a branch. Git checkout branch name is to switch the branch. When you have to merge the branch, right? In our case, we wanted to merge the branch b1 into the master, so we first switch to branch master, and the command for that is to git checkout master. Then we switch to command master, and then we said okay, git merge, and say okay, merge b1 branch into the master. We were at currently master branch, okay. And that's how we do the merging. So there are so many other things, we will go step by step. And I think that's enough for this. uh, Next we will continue with how we would do the unchange whatever we have done so far, right? So sometimes there are situations where we want to do unchanges as well. We accidentally committed and we don't want to commit as well, right? Even the commit ID. So we will learn in this section, and I will also go by other things. So this topic is specially or specifically for the advanced topics. So we will go ahead and check that in next week. Okay, we will also see how git ignore file work. We will also see how pull request, how we collaborate with multiple teams, and some advanced techniques like cherry picking, rebasing, and all these things we will see in the next session. So I wrap up from my side with that said. And I would also like to show you, okay, this is our GitHub page. Here we have all the commands, and what we call this our practice things, which I was posting in a WhatsApp group. I will be posting here, right? And you will get access and message from our YouTube family if you want it. Yes, write in our comment section you need access, and we will coordinate, because this repository will be not the public repository. This will be a closed one, and where you get all the questions and all these resources over there. And I go back over here, and guys, it's your time. If you have any questions, I know today's session again is too much long. I shared a lot of information, and I will definitely share a lot of practice question throughout to keep you busy throughout the week. Anything from your side, guys? Any questions so far? Okay, thank you, Tarun. Anybody else? Any questions?
Thank you so much, sir. I really do not have any question. Uh, today is one of the days I have to just go back and watch the video all over again and practice. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Samar. Next time we will add more animations in more complex topic. Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep, for your feedback. And yes. Yeah, yes, I know. That's it. So next week will be more overwhelming, but not this much, because I will be sharing practice commands with you guys. So make sure I mean, I could only tell you, right? I cannot force you to do that. It's up to you. But I want you to learn as much as, and I wanted to pass on the knowledge as much as I could. The more you ask, more you practice. So, like when you start, so you start plus, you will not start zero, right? So that's what my motto. Thank you, Pradeep. So again, this is our contact details. So any questions is there, ask. And big thanks for your time, your patience, and your interest in learning. And we see each other next week, and with we will continue with more advanced things. So our GitHub is not done yet. I mean, it is more than basic than advanced, but we will go, as I promised, we will go beyond the advanced things. Okay. And yes, see you next week, guys.
Okay, sir. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everybody.